So here I am with the entire team. I'm updating them regularly. I have the law firms, I have accounting firms. I have everything is going well. I followed the steps exactly. I have a couple of banks that I have spoken to, and COVID is happening. Everybody's in lockdown. So bankers are doing, Zoom calls, which is convenient and saves a lot of time, and the entire scope changes. And this is where, we do a conference. There is a conference call scheduled for all the mentees, and Dan, starts talking about which industries are going to get disrupted, which industries are going to be good. So reposition yourself, adjust the strategy. I was in healthcare, and healthcare is booming in COVID, obviously. So he just gives reorients us. Has anything changed in the system? He said nothing's changed, so it was all good. Keep doing what you're doing. Make more calls. Do more messages. And that was the advice. So now is the time to identify businesses. So I found out a way to get phone numbers of businesses, and I start making calls. Now this is where the QLA model gets a bit complicated, because once again you have to deal with the fucking bureaucracy of the company. You have to go through multiple secretaries, and you have to get to the decision maker. And you don't know if it's one partner, two partner, four partner business. Um, And many of these people don't want to give you the information on the phone. What's their revenue size? What's their profit margin? And you have to, um, sometimes take a meeting with them, and then they'll tell you, and you've already spent so much time and it's not in your criteria. And there is a whole challenging part on deal flow. One of the most challenging things that you would do in QLA model is going to be deal flow, how to find businesses. And it's not just about identifying businesses, it's about negotiating the deal, getting signatures on paper of people, and essentially closing them, and being ready. And there is very complex dynamics, because you have multiple partners. Just like the bank, there are multiple decision makers. Deal flow has multiple partners. They have all different motivations. Some want to sell, some don't want to sell. Three people want to sell, one person wants to block the sale. The person wants to sell, but the wife last minute convinces him not to sell. So you sign all the papers, and the wife convinces not to sell. It happens. Okay. He changes his mind all of a sudden. I mean, nasty, nasty stuff can happen last minute. And I'm talking when you have invested 3-4 months on the fucking transaction. Okay. So anyway, that part is coming later on. So right now, I started to make some calls, and started to have some meetings with people. And this is the time where I wanted to look for a deal. And I found uh, this one clinic, and I called the owner, and he says, "You want to buy my clinic? Come." And I said, you know, I don't know if I want to take a meeting. I just want to understand how big your clinic is. He says, come, don't worry. And I said, okay. I got into the cab. I went to the place. And so far, I had met some clinics. They were all shit. 3 rooms, 3 doctors, paperwork all over. I mean, these are small, but you will be surprised. Like $1 million business in healthcare looks like shit. It's horrible. Like, it's very, like, kind of dirty, old furniture, uh, paperwork everywhere, like old computers, like weird looking staff. I mean, all kinds of funky stuff. It's not as glamorous as recruiting board members. It's different. So I wasn't impressed with any business, and frankly, I didn't see myself running any of these businesses. But then I found this guy. He has like a gigantic clinic. It's really big in size. It's 2 floors, and I see like, Range Rovers are standing outside and Rolls Royces are standing outside the clinic. I go in, like models are there, and like really beautiful Arabic women are there, like wealthy crowd, like expensive watches and stuff like that, jewelry. And this is a cosmetic clinic. So I go up and I meet the doctor, and I see the doctor is wearing like a 200, like $150,000, $200,000 AP watch, and like a very powerful personality. And he looks at me and he's like, "Tell me, you want to buy my company?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "What's the price?" I said, "I cannot tell you until I see the paperwork." And he says, "You're the one who's going to buy?" He was very skeptical. And he said, "No, I have people behind me, and we have banks that are lined up, and that's how we're going to raise." He says, "Okay." You know, um, he said something, he tried to, I didn't understand, nothing happened, and I left. But when I met him, I was extremely nervous because I was like, this company is going to be worth multi-millions of dollars. How am I going to finance this? And, I had a whole bunch of, I got triggered when I saw him. He looked like, you know, someone I wanted to be in his position. And later on, you will see I meet him. But for now, I left, and nothing happened. And I started to look for more targets, and then suddenly there was this one mentee of Dan Pena reached out to me, and he said, "I have a deal. I have a $10 million deal. Are you interested to partner up, collaborate?" And I said, "Sure." And he said, "This is a home care deal, and all you got to do is arrange for financing, and you can have 50% of the deal." And I was like, "That's interesting. I'm looking for a deal. I'm having some struggle with it. Uh, you are here with a deal. Let's, and I have the banks." He said, "Do you have the banks?" I said, "I have the banks." And he said, "How many banks do you have? Did you speak to?" I said, "I spoke to more than 20. I spoke to all of the banks, 26 banks, and I have, contact in every level." That's the benefit of doing, 300 messages and, like 30, 40 calls. And I said, "I have strong board members. I know I can get financing for this deal." So we got on the Zoom call. We started to bond with each other, and then he walked me through the numbers. He told me the valuation and everything, and it very surprisingly, it seemed very straightforward. Like the way he presented it, it seemed very straightforward. And I started running it through my board members, and now it was time to find banks that would finance this deal. So here I was, a couple of months ago, I had no idea what to do with my life and how I'm going to make my dreams a reality. All these visions that I saw in my mind, will they ever happen? And here I was negotiating and partnering up with one of Dan Pena's mentees, who I saw on video, by the way. And he's brought this $10 million deal. I immediately calculated how much am I going to make. And I was like, this is fucking crazy. And this is the time where I was living with my brother, and he was covering my expenses. That was the deal, that he would cover my expenses. And then once I acquire a business, I would return the money. And he came in and he saw me. He asked me, "What are you doing?" I said, I just got a $10 million deal. And if I finance this, and he says, "Wow, if you finance this, you're going to be richer than me." And he's my elder brother. He's 5 years older than me. And he has made a couple of $1 million. And he said that you're going to be richer than me. And I said, yeah. And then he shook his head and he left. Let me tell you something. I did not catch this immediately, but I saw the look on his face completely change. And his relationship with me from that point on was different. It was, very strange things happened. This is my brother, and he started to attack me in conversations. He started to say, "Oh, this QLA doesn't work," you know, and it's all bullshit. It's too extreme, Dan Pena is crazy, and this and that. And he started to try and plant these things to stop me. He started to complain, "Oh, you don't spend time. I don't know what's happening to you guys. You just lock yourself in the room and just, making these calls. Nothing is happening. It's been a few months." And he started to like literally drain me down. And this is the reason why Dan Pena says, don't share this with your friends and family. Because look, they might be happy if you make a couple of $1,000 extra. But if they see you making $10 million on one transaction, and they are the ones who are not going to make this, they see a whole scenario where when you make this money, you're going to have a Ferrari and you're going to have the prettier girl, the bigger house, and they're going to look small and they're not going to like it. You might think they'll be happy for you. They're not. And that was something that Dan Pena said, that they're going to be jealous. You're trying to impress your friends, and you're going to think that once you become successful, they're going to be happy for you, your friends and family. The truth is, when you do make big money, not small money, it's fine. You go for a little dinner, have a treat. But the big money, people change faces. Look at all the hate that the Kardashians get, Donald Trump gets. Why? Why? Most people don't even know them. Why do they get hate? It's hidden jealousy that comes out, and it's human nature. And this is where it starts to get a bit dark, because you will start to see sides of people. When it comes to money, and a lot of money, big amount of money, millions and tens of millions of dollars, you will see sides of people that you did not know they had, and they did not know they had. Things become very different, nasty and ugly, because now there's something to fight for, right? When there's nothing to fight for, there's no transactions involved. No, everybody's at the same level, right? Nobody's intimidating each other. But the moment one person starts to grow too much, whoa, you're making me look too small now. Now I got to pull you down. And that unfortunately started to happen. From that point on, our relationship changed, and he felt left out because he decided he's not going to execute the QLA. He saw me going so fast, and he didn't decide. He thought that, wow, how is this guy who's younger than me going to make so much money, and he's going to lose authority? He was the provider in the family, and he's going to lose all that position, and I'm going to be the one who will be in power. He didn't like that. Even though he's my brother and everything, he didn't like that. And that just changed our relationship. I never thought this would happen, but it happened. And Dan Pena said, if you think your family is supportive, we'll see. Let's wait and see what happens. Because he knows. And that's the ugly side of life. And I was gonna say QLA, but no. It's just the dark side of human nature, right? We feel jealous when other people are successful. And you have to deal with that. And people will want to take you down once they're jealous of you.